So you did judo and you're a wrestler. What I want to ask you is, because you've been in the world with a lot of judo players and everything, why do you think a lot of them don't transition to MMA? Because if you think about elite MMA athletes who were judokas, I could think off the top of my head of maybe 5 or 6. Ronda Rousey, of course, maybe Carl Parisian, Dan Kelly, a couple of them. But why do you think?
Rick Hahn.
Why do you? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Why do you think a lot of people in judo kind of choose one path or the other? And that was kind of your story as well, where you kind of, took a little detour to explore MMA and circled back to judo. But why do you think that? Why do you think that pattern exists?
Well, for me, I think mine started a little bit. My path in judo kind of started a little bit different than most judoka. Okay. So I had a different goal in mind than a lot of most judoka. I think, and it's hard looking back. We have, looking back, I don't think we can have a discussion about MMA without Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sure. And so that sort of changes the context. And I think most people in judo weren't interested in fighting. Mm-hmm. They, most of them were in judo for the love of the sport or the love of martial arts culture and just discipline, fitness. And it's a different mindset and it's not a culture for violence and sport fighting, blood sport, prize fighting. And even today, as there are still many, talk to many people in the judo community, and they won't understand or appreciate mixed martial arts as a sport itself. Let's not talk, we won't talk about all of the rules and safety mechanisms and refereeing and the quality of the athletes involved, but just the attitude of getting into a cage for violence is really, they're just opposed to that culture that seems very unproductive to them. So I think that there's already sort of cultural things that set up difference. I think beyond that, if we kind of just narrow things down to starting in the late 90s and moving forward, the last 2 decades, that MMA culture has been a phenomenon in America, and we talk about American judo. Yeah. I think we have to look at the breaking away of the gi, the gi itself, and that you won't go into any. I'll just put the quotes on there. I don't think you'll go into most judo studios, judo dojos, academies, anywhere and find them practicing at a routine place no-gi judo. Yeah. So they are playing by the rules of randori judo with the gi. These are the grips. There's no striking. You do these things. So trying to work how does a judo practitioner transition to MMA is very difficult, because they're not going to do that in the judo hall. They're going to have to find like-minded partners, and they're going to have to train additionally, or they're going to have to do it at a MMA or jiu-jitsu or academy somewhere. And that's just no-gi grappling. We haven't even talked about the aspect of punching and grappling together, which is it's just truly the integration, which is maybe the most important factor of being able to apply judo in MMA, is the ability to punch your way in and out of the clinch fighting, which is where judo is effective. So yeah, for sure. I was always interested by that, because if you look at other martial arts and other combat sports, there's a natural progression towards MMA. You see boxers transition to MMA, you see wrestlers transition to MMA, you see kickboxers transition to MMA, taekwondo practitioners, but judo seems to be the one where it's kind of like you choose the judo track or you choose the MMA track, and there's not a lot of blending there. So I appreciate you kind of
breaking that down. That's always it's always been like a lingering thing for me. Sense if you're in a culture where this is what they're doing, we do judo, we do it in a gi, we're not going to train without a gi, then that's what you're going to do if that's what you want to do. And if you don't want to do that, you've got to go somewhere else where they're maybe not training judo. But it's interesting too, because you see someone like Ronda Rousey come along and nobody really had an answer for her at first, because she's doing things like these throws right into submissions, because there's a time limit in judo. Once you hit the ground, you have to get a submission within 30 seconds. Depending on the rule set?
Well, the times are usually established for the length you have to pin someone. Mm-hmm. But for instance, if you were not in a pinning position, but say working or trying to pass someone's guard, if the referees thought you weren't making progress to a pinning position, they're going to shut it down right away. Yeah. And you're going to reset. So, and you know, if you watch high level, if you watch international judo levels, and you see Nawazi, you see arm bars and things, they happen right off the throws, immediate transitions right into subs, because you don't want to waste that energy in judo. If you don't have the technical ability to force the sub reaction right away, because when the judo players hit the ground, they're going to get real defensive, and it's going to be very hard to make things happen without expending a lot of energy, which could cost you the match. Yeah, and not only that, usually when you're competing in judo, you have to do multiple matches in a day. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like definitely dozens. It seems like a lot, even at the high level, at the Olympic level. These guys are and women are competing an insane amount. 3 or 4 matches a day, and at that level, at that international or elite level, that's pretty exhausting. But for MMA fighters who maybe don't train any judo, they're used to, all right, if I get taken down, you know, I have my guard game, I can start working and I'll have time to work into a better position or try to stand back up. But when you go against a high level judo player, that's like, all right, you're down, and guess what? You're in a submission too, almost simultaneously. It's hard to come up with an answer for that. So that always intrigued me. But, you know, like you said, you've got to have a unique recipe of someone who is training in judo and then also has like the MMA track as well. Yeah. So cool. Awesome breakdown there. So